This week on HomeKit News, the SwitchBot K10 Plus Pro Mini Vacuum with Matter. Welcome back everybody. Today's product is the SwitchBot Mini Robot Vacuum K10 Plus Pro. That was a mouthful. Is in a pretty basic box, so we'll just dive straight into the product itself for a change. So the K10 Plus Pro is a combined robot vacuum and cleaning station that, despite its small size, does pack in a lot of features. Most of the specs are listed here, so pause the video if needed. If it looks familiar, it's because this is an update to the K10 Plus, shown here for comparison. Now visually there's not much difference, with only a larger front docking sensor and a change of colour for the front of the docking station itself. If you already own the K10 Plus, the internal improvements I'll mention in a bit are possibly not enough to make a new purchase, however. If I now compare the two models side by side, the Pro model does improve on a few things over the previous model, with improved corner cleaning, a new all-rubber brush, 3000 pascals of sucking power, which is a 20% increase, and improved object avoidance and wall detection with the use of a thing called a position-sensitive detector. I do only have a Roborock S6 to compare it to, but the K10 Plus Pro is over 34% smaller, which is important to me, as you'll see later. It does have a smaller battery than the S6, but it actually has 50% more sucking power than my S6. So let's have a quick look at what's in the box. The largest item is the docking station, which is also where the vacuum is emptied, which I'll touch on later. You get the K10 Plus Pro, of course, and assorted extras, which includes a decent user manual, a pack of 30 disposable mopping cloths, a pair of dust bags, 2 side brushes, and a spare HEPA filter, with one already fitted in the vacuum. Let's now take a closer look at the K10 Plus Pro, and the front has a larger docking sensor, as I've already mentioned, with a single wall sensor on its right hand side. On top is the LiDAR SLAM sensor, which is designed to help map your floor plan. The rear is home to another docking sensor, a pair of charging contacts for recharging the internal battery, and a dust port for the hair and dirt to be sucked into the docking station. The front has a large bumper to detect objects and subsequently avoid them, whilst the sides have air vents and speakers for the basic onboard voice, available in a few different languages, I might add. The top section has 2 buttons, both of which have dual functions, but basically one is for activating or deactivating a cleaning job, whilst the other sends the robot vacuum back to the docking station. The top section has a removable plate that hides a few things, namely a mains power button and a handle to remove the dustbin. That also includes the small HEPA filter. You will have to attach one of the 2 side brushes provided yourself, but that's pretty easy to do. There are also edge or cliff sensors on the front and sides to prevent it from falling downstairs, for example, and as mentioned there's also the new rubber roller, which replaces the combined rubber and bristle version. Let's give the K10 Plus Pro a quick road test, and I've already mapped out our apartment, so for this test I selected a specific area for it to clean, as you can see on the map. My first impressions are that it seems a lot faster than my Roborock and seems to turn on its wheels pretty sharply, which is impressive. It also seems to do a decent job of cleaning exactly where I told it to. It's on its way back to the dock now, but this is Bubble who's largely responsible for what you see next. Now our dog sheds hair all day, every day, and so a vacuum is essential for us, especially if it can be automated. The docking station sucks the dust and debris from the back of the vacuum and funnels it into the top section, where a special bag collects it for disposal later. The vac is here now connecting to the station, and as you can hear, the station is doing its thing. As you can see, the vacuum dustbin is now completely empty. The vacuum also recharges at the station, with the buttons glowing to show this. The SwitchBot app gives you the most control over the vacuum with things like the floor plan and various other options. Now there are 4 different vacuum strengths from quiet to max. There are also options to edit the map, create schedules, provide cleaning reports and even control the movement of the vac directly from your phone. There are also 2 cleaning options, mop and vacuum, which we'll look at in a bit. You can also choose between cleaning a selection of rooms, the whole house, or just a specific area. Further settings are available for dust collection options, so given our dog sheds hair like it's going out of fashion, I'm going to set the enhanced option for both of these. You can connect the K10 Pro to other platforms, which also includes Siri shortcuts, but if you want to get these into Apple Home, you will need one of the company's own hubs. Even though it doesn't directly connect to the hubs as such, having one of these will allow you to show it in Apple Home. All that said, until iOS 18, whilst the vac does show up, it does so only as an outlet, fan or light, with merely on-off control for the time being. Hopefully iOS 18 will bring more features later this year. Let's now have a closer look at the docking station, and the front has a large LED strip that lights up or flashes depending on what's happening at the time. If I open the lid, the strip will flash and also send a push notification to my phone. Also at the front is a docking target that works in tandem with the docking sensors on the vacuum. There are 2 charging contacts to recharge the vacuum's battery, and in between these is the port for sucking the dirt out of the vac and into the dust bag held in the top section. So here's the storage area for the dust bag, and you can see the end of the pipe that connects to the bag with an extractor fan at the bottom for sucking the dirt into the bag. You also get a small brush with a blade to cut any tangled hair as standard. Built into the lid is the mopping pad plate clip. Now this is essentially for wrapping one of the disposable mopping cloths around, which then clips into place below the rubber roller brush. The vac detects this is being connected and will switch to mopping mode automatically. It's a bit of an odd solution, but it works, I guess. If I remove it, the vac will also go back to vacuum mode.
Exited mopping mode.
Back to the docking station now, and there are vents either side with the back home to the power cable. Now SwitchBot sent me the one with the UK plug, but it should be available with an EU or US plug depending on your region. So here's one of the dust bags, which has a cardboard section and a rubber ring seal. The cardboard section slots into place like this, so it's really easy to install in mere seconds. More on the K10 Pro now, and when the vac is cleaning your floor, typically it would do so in a back and forth pattern like is demonstrated here. What's nice is that if you decide to clean a room or area twice over, it will do the same pattern but at 90 degrees, thereby ensuring a more thorough clean. Because the K10 Pro is small, it can get into smaller areas than other robots like these chairs with a 5-star base. My Roborock can't get close enough to clean in these places. Perhaps the most important thing for the K10 Pro for me gives me the ability to get around my table chair legs without any issues. The gap between the legs is 35 centimeters, which whilst the same width as the Roborock, the latter just gets stuck every time. You might be wondering if I encountered any issues. Well, initially I did find that for some reason the K10 Pro couldn't make its way back to the docking station even if it was really close. It just would wander around until it would eventually give up.
Charging failed. Unable to locate the charging base.
However, I was able to remedy this by deleting my floor plan and creating a brand new one. Hopefully that isn't going to be required too often, so we'll see. Onto the pros and cons, and with the compact size this has enabled me to get into places my Roborock couldn't reach, at least without moving stuff each time, so that's a big plus for me. It is Matter compatible via one of the company's hubs, but as Matter support in Apple Home is basic for vacuums right now, we'll have to wait to get more granular control. With my Roborock, I would always have to empty the dustbin manually myself, but having the docking station do it for me is pretty nice and just makes the job a little less messy. It could be due to its smaller size, but the K10 Pro seems pretty nifty at getting around, especially in tight spaces, so that's impressive also. I'm not such a fan of the mopping solution presented here, as it does feel like an afterthought, to be honest, but this is not a dedicated mopping robot, so if I did want something for that role, I'd probably be better off buying something with that specific feature. The issue with the vacuum not finding the docking station took me a while to figure out, and it seems from looking online others have had this issue too, so hopefully the fix I found will work for others. Overall, this is a device I'll definitely be keeping for my home, as robot vacuums in general are an excellent example of how helpful a smart home device can be, and this does a great job overall. So let me know if this is something you'd be considering buying, or if you think there are more suitable brands for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll always reply to queries. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll leave you with this quote from Ernest Hemingway, who said, "I drink to make other people more interesting."